I'm back, baby. It's been a while. Or, as Americans say, it's been a minute, which I'll never understand. Apologies for those who are my current subscribers that have not been around for a while. I was out cycling, having fun. And then, I just had, my body just crashed. Was very tired. I went back to work in real life. That was really, really exhausting. And then therapy was getting on top of me. And I also was in A&E one night for my legs, and obviously they couldn't help me. So now I've got to deal with the fact that I've got a chronic illness that no doctors or nurses know, don't know what it is. But it's okay because I'm still back on my bike. I'm just going to have flare-ups every now and then. But as you know, it's not my first rodeo. So, it's be fine. If you're new here, this is For Knit's Sake, a knitting podcast, and it's called For Knit's Sake because I am very famous for saying, for God's sake. So when I was coming up with a name for this, I just thought For Knit's Sake would be the perfect name for the podcast. I'm currently doing the A to Z of knitting, or crafting, crochet, so basically the A to Z of crafting. And today is going to be L for love, made with love. And it's going to be all of the things I've made for people and all the things they've made for me. I didn't think it was that many. And then I sat down to look for my photographs, and I've made a lot of things and people have made me a lot of things. So, it's a nice fun one to get back into after being off for a while. And yeah, let's just get into it. I haven't actually knit for ages because I've been tired and things. But the thing I'm working on at the minute is I'm doing a granny square blanket. And the rounds are going to be every time I go for a bike ride. I'm also very behind on this. But yeah, every time I go on a bike ride, I'm going to go into Adaro, and the seasons have colours. So grey is winter. Green is for spring because, the grass comes back up, and green's always reminded me of spring. And then for summer it's going to be blue, like a really nice blue for blue skies. And then autumn is like a orangey amber colour, and then I've got red for Christmas. So Christmas month. For me, Christmas starts 1st of December, so I've got a red for that. But yeah, I was going to do a circle to represent a wheel on a bike. That did not go as planned. I tried so many times. I just couldn't do it, so it's a square. A project I'm working on at the minute for this episode is very fitting because, it's made with love, and it might be inappropriate, but I'm knitting a scarf for my therapist. The last week, I had a massive moment for me, and it was because of my therapy, so I'm knitting him a scarf to say thanks, because I think I'll be leaving soon. I've got a 5-week test to see if the things he's taught me are going to help me forever, basically. So this is actually the best therapy I've ever had, because for the first time in 9 years, I'm properly able to separate myself and my brain injury. For the 9 years, I thought I was a new me, or I would compare myself to the old me. I would blame everything on my brain injury, but now I know that, I'm me and I have a brain injury. I do things because I'm me. I have my personality still, I have my traits, I have my values, and I've got a brain injury. So, I'm not a brain injury, basically. And he's massive. He has to duck down to go under doors. Under doors? He has to duck down to go through doors. So I've broken my yarn stash by for the year, by the way. Bought some ages ago. I bought a few different purchases, but this wasn't my stash. It's perfect for a 6'8" man. And that is just a basic pattern that I made up. I use it for all my scarves, but I'm doing a plain blue navy, a plain blue colour. And it's just a knit one purl one with a garter stitch border, and I use that for all the scarves I do, unless they're a fancy pattern. So I just self-drafted that, and it took a while to get used to, but now I just can do it. So yeah, I've got 5 weeks to knit that. But because I haven't knit for so long, I started it a couple of days ago, and then I had to stop because my second finger hurt. And it hurt for like, it's fine now, but I didn't do much. So I guess my body's not used to knitting anymore. So I'll have to sort that out, won't I? Right. L is obviously made with love, and I do have L, love, an episode on why I love knitting, and that was a Valentine's Day special. I'll pop it below for you, because if you knit, you'll probably get like every single fact. I did 14 because February 14th. So 14 reasons why I love knitting. Yep, so that's below for you and here. I'm not very good at... I honestly don't have the patience to sit through and put like time links at certain times. I honestly can't be bothered, so it's below. It's not going to be here. Let's be honest. I can't be bothered. So I sat down, made a list. I was just going to roll off my head, but I'm very glad I sat down and looked at my photographs because there's so many things I forgot I made. I think my family is quite crafty because there's things that my family's made and there's things I made for my family, and we're quite a crafty family. And I'm going to start with Mum because she taught me how to knit and sew. So I'm going to start with her. As you can no, you can't see, I moved the camera. Before I moved the camera, before I started filming, the goldfish was behind me. I mentioned the goldfish in my Jeanette episode where I interviewed Mum. This is my absolute favourite thing she's ever made. I had a goldfish at the time, and she just turned up with this one day. It wasn't my birthday or anything, she just turned up with this. And that was back in 2011 or 2012, so it's really old, and it's really, really bobbly now, but it's actually very good. As a knitter now, I know I would not knit something this big in one colour, especially orange. But it's a really cool design. She self-drafted it. So this is a stockinette stitch. This is garter with like, this is a stockinette stitch but with garter on the wrong side, so it's got like a ribbed effect. And then the back is garter with a stockinette. So she's mixed it up with stitches, and it's really lumpy and bobbly now, but I really love it. I'm going to have this. I'm going to ask to be buried with this. And she also made me, when I was at uni, a blue scarf. When I moved to this house, I got rid of a few things by accident. So I had a big pile of things I was taking to the charity shop, and then there's moving boxes next to it. And I accidentally put one of the boxes in there, in the pile. And it turns out that was the best box because it had my Tea Pigs loose leaf teapot, it had my nice mugs, it had the scarf in, I guess, to pad up the things. And of all the boxes why couldn't it have been something that I don't care about? But yeah, I did love that blue scarf. But I'm really gutted I lost it. Because she made me that and the goldfish before I knew how to knit. And it was a very wide scarf and very long. And as a knitter now, I know how long that took. Yeah. I guess she used a ball this big. Or a few balls. It was a very long scarf. And Mum just sends me things every now and then for the post, which is nice, and I do the same for her. So she sent me a whale phone cozy. So it's from the book Knitted Animal Cozies by Fiona Goebel. And then for Christmas last year? Christmas, birthday? Christmas, I think, she made this blanket. Or it's like an art quilt. And it's her hand, and it says create. And this is all hand sewn. And it's the colours to match my room, so I've got a teal wall and yellow. And she said, create, that's on order. Yeah, I love that. I have it hanging at my window, and when I'm walking down the street home, I can see the black heart that says Mum's hand for Naomi 2020. So yeah, that wasn't last Christmas at all, was it? I honestly forgot when I got this, but I love it. And wait here, because last time Mum came up, she gave me half of her temperature blanket. Also, I just realised I said wait here when you're not going to wait, because I'm just going to cut that bit of me going downstairs out. Right, so this blanket, for last year, at the beginning of the month, like the 2nd of January, me and Mum said we were going to start a temperature blanket. I stopped in February or something. I knit like 15 rows. And then it turns out Mum kept going, and Mum finished it, and it's impressive. I'm really proud of her for keeping up with that, because it's got like three rows each day, so it's the weather, what the sky looks like, and another thing. I can't remember because I didn't do mine, but she split it into 2 blankets, and at the time she told me she cut it, and I was like, I thought she was really angry for me. I thought she was really angry for me not doing mine, so she just went home and cut it. But it turns out she was skeeting it, and I still don't know what skeeting is, but she skeeted it. And it's gorgeous. Yeah, I'll just show you. Like, there's Made with Love, and then there's just another level for this, isn't there? And then she did a border, and I think that took like 4 balls to do the border, because it's a knitted border. It's not crocheted. It's like a knitted border separately, folded over, and then sewn on. But it drapes lovely, and the colours are just lovely. And this part here, like the pinks and the whites, is like is winter, and then you get into like the warmer months like June, July for summer. It must have snowed then, and there's a random white line. But yeah, I love it. It drapes really nicely as well. Like, it's really warm, obviously. Really soft. It's made from Drops Lima, and it's massive. That's another thing I'm going to be buried with. I'm going to be the coziest dead person ever. Said with complete seriousness. And next is from Stephen. Not very good at this yet still. Stephen's a computer programmer, but he doesn't have the hands of a computer programmer. He's got the hands of like a mechanic, because he works on his car, he's taking his hands over a part, he does loads of welding and things like that. And he made me this for my birthday. I can't remember what year or anything. And he's taught me how to weld, and I can't do it. It's so hard. So to write all his letters and to have them all lined up neatly, very impressive. Next up is my nephew, Leon. So when he was about 2, he made me a gingerbread man, like a Christmas ornament, and I've still got it, and it's still my favourite Christmas ornament. And he also made me a pin cushion, the first lockdown I think it was. And I haven't told him this, so if you're watching this, Leon, Jack nibbled it, so I need to fix it. But it was still great. It's got like a little N on. It's got a little hook on hanging to your sewing machine. I think that's everything that people have given me, but probably not. So we're going to go on to the things I've made for people. So first up, I'm going to start again with Mum. So I went to a quilting show like literally a week before coronavirus started, and that was when I got inspired to make a quilt. I had about 10 days to make it. Never made a quilt before, never really hand sewn, was quite new to my sewing machine, but I did make it. So it's like a memory quilt. It's my and Mum's things we've done together in terms of crafts. So it's got like, this is my favourite part of it. It's got the little green snake I knitted. I did like a felt version and put on a shelf, and then next to that there's a sewing book, a knitting book, and like a basket of yarn that was a bit of fabric that I cut out. And it's got a mini me knitting. It's got bunting. So she's got Union Jack in her craft room, and before I decorated this room I had like floral bunting, so that's sewn, and then the Union Jack is knit like tiny knitted on top. And then in the top right corner there's a view of mountains, because from my window you can see the campsies, and and then at the bottom there's a sunflower, because we went to see the Van Gogh exhibition. It was so good. And yeah, I actually loved making that. The only thing I don't like about it is a ribbon. I did a ribbon boarding. I did a ribbon border because I didn't understand bias binding yet, and I hate it. I think it ruins it, but Mum won't let me take it out and put a fabric border in. But I still love it. And then I made her Cat Courage a bandana, like licorice all sorts, from an I'll Do You cover. I made her a Granny Square tea cozy for birthday March this year. Yep, part of my tea cozy. One a month. I'm still sticking to that, but it's the end of April very soon, and I haven't started another tea cozy. But I still have time. And apparently that's it. But I feel like I've made Mum a basket. I made her a basket at Christmas. I think I make her things and don't photograph them. Oh yes, when I first got into knitting, I made her 2 circles, one brownie colour, one black, and I put like eyes on them, and that's Milo and Courage, her dog and cat, and so yeah, I'd made that. So that's what I'm saying. Even though I've sat down, even for other people, I've probably forgot a lot of things that I've made. And then next is Nathan, my brother. I made him a knitted crayon, and that was my first time doing colour change. So it's like a red crayon, brown, then red again. It was so tiny. I don't know what, but it's classic me, take on a big challenge, even though it was tiny, because it's more fiddly. Because he was really into colouring books at the time, like adult colouring books, so I made him that. And then during the first lockdown Christmas, so 2020, I decided to make everyone something. Everyone. And I haven't done that since because I drove myself a bit mad. But it was funny because I sewed everything because obviously sewing's faster. And at the beginning of December, I started in December as well. So the beginning of December, I was like, all right at sewing. And then you see me getting better at sewing as like the presents go on. And Nathan's apron was the best thing that I made. So it was like from this gorgeous pasta fabric, it's like corduroy type thing. And that was the top stitching was so neat, and my hems were so neat. So yeah, I'm very proud of that. And then next up is made my sister a Highland cowl, like a little triangle one, and that was when I first got into increases and decreases. And I basically made a triangle but turned it ginger and then put 2 buttons on for the nose and then just frill for the fringe. And then I made her a fox hat. Actually, I made it for myself, and it was too small for my head. I've got quite a big head, and I've got this thick hair, so I gave that to her. I love that fox hat, but I tried to make it again. I made the hat fine. I just sized up the needles, and it was completely fine. It was really comfy. I always go wrong in like placing the ears, and it just looks rubbish. I might try again, because it does look nice. Anyway, and then this was also during lockdown. I self-drafted this pattern. So if you know, it's from The Walking Dead, where Carol's like, look at the flowers. And I'm really proud of these little zombies with their little brains popping out. Oh, another reason why I've been away and not knitting much is because, and I'm going to say this, knitting is cool now. It's quite seen as an all-person hobby, isn't it? But like, it's not really. But guess what old hobby I've picked up? Jigsaw puzzles. I saw this Walking Dead jigsaw in the charity shop for £3.50, and I bought it because it was just The Walking Dead. And it turns out doing a jigsaw is the most relaxing thing ever. It sounds stressful, but it really isn't. I love doing them. They're really relaxing. You just like switch off. But yeah, it's like my little happy place. For when my finger hurts as well, it's good to have something else to do rather than sat in front of the telly. So this Walking Dead one was 300 pieces, and I started this yesterday, 1,000-piece jigsaw, and it's the Tudors. Like, I'm talking now when I realise how nerdy I'm sounding. I got a Tudor jigsaw puzzle, because that's like, apart from the Victorian era, that's like my favourite part of history. I'm such a nerd. But this is going to sound even nerdier because it comes with a poster, obviously of the jigsaw puzzle. But on the back, each person or each thing on the jigsaw has a number, and then on the back it tells you the historic thing about the person. So, for example, you have like number 1 is Henry VIII, and it lists all his wives and things like that. But I haven't put Henry VIII down yet, but I picked up a little jigsaw piece and it's so obviously Henry VIII. But yeah. I'm a nerd and I like jigsaws, okay? I think I got distracted. I don't think I mentioned this yet, but I also made my sister a tiger scarf and I love this. I keep saying I'm going to make one for myself, but I never do. It's been like 2 or 3 years now. I even tried it on and it was like amazing. And it's so easy because it's from the beginner's knitting book from Sincerely Louise, and it's just so simple. It's just garter stitch chunky. And I bought the book even though I can knit properly. You know what I mean? Even though I'm not a beginner knitter, I still bought the book because of the patterns in it. And that's another thing. If you're an advanced knitter, there's nothing wrong with doing super basic patterns, because if you enjoy the knitted thing, it doesn't have, because you're advanced, you don't have to always do advanced things. I mention this a lot in the podcast because I do feel like advanced knitters only go to advanced things and beginners only go to beginners things. It's vice versa. If you're a beginner, try a bit more complicated pattern, like work your way up. And if you're advanced knitter, sometimes it's good not to have something that you need to focus all your energy upon. So it works both ways. And this is 2 friends. I don't know why I said it like that. This is 2 friends. So when I made the Highland cow, before I did that, my first project was again, I learned how to knit in dark green, and then I learned how to knit increase and decrease in dark green. I was like, what the hell am I going to do with this triangle? So I turned it into a Christmas tree. And the first one I gave away, I didn't realise that I was really new to knitting, but I stuffed it and I sewed it up, and then I added the pom-poms, to represent Christmas lights. So if you turn a thing around on the back, there's just tons of thread. And then when I made the Highland cow, I remember saying to my sister, look, I've sewn the things on before stuffing it, so when you go on the back, it's just knitting. But yeah, I don't know. I was just excited to give it away because I was like, look what I made, and then I gave it away and it was all happy and nice. But yeah, like, why didn't Mum tell me how to... No, it doesn't matter. She's going to have a go at me if I mentioned it on this YouTube. Like, why didn't you tell me to sew? It doesn't matter. Right. So if you're new to knitting and watching this, like, if you make something, sew your things on first and then stuff it, like, if it's a toy or something. This is what Mum should have told me, really, isn't it? And the next thing, I feel like there's only 3 things here, and I feel like I've made a lot more than this. I made my friend Steph a pom-pom reindeer Christmas ornament, and that was just a pom-pom, but I used corks for the antlers. I still have tons of corks, and because I had Etsy back then and I thought they would sell, but they didn't. So I'm planning to do with all my corks to hot glue them together and make like a notice board. And I've said it on here now, so I have to do it because that's how YouTube works. And then last year, I made my friend a baby blanket for her baby. She knew it was a girl, so I did like pinks. It was a baby yarn, but it had like greens and blues. And then I did another colour, pink around it. So it was like 2 different balls of yarn. And the first lockdown Christmas, again, when I say I made something for everyone. Oh yes, Leon again. I made him a cushion cover. So it was a cushion cover with a pocket. It was a book cushion cover. You know what I mean, right? And this is what I'm on about when you see my sewing go from like here to here. It was a learning process that month. I don't use polycotton anymore because no matter what tension your sewing machine's at, the polycotton stretches and it's too thin and it's rubbish. So I don't use that anymore. I use 100% cotton. And I haven't ventured much in my sewing, to be honest. I'm scared of my sewing machine still. But yeah, don't use polycotton. And I would suggest that to other people who are new to sewing because it's just a waste of time and money. Oh yeah, halfway through making presents for people, I decided to make my cat and dog an advent calendar as a break from all the stress sewing, and I love them. Oh, I thought I was finished, but I've missed off Stephen entirely. Right, okay, things I made for Stephen. This is a long list. So I'll start with my favourite one, which is the knitted version of Jack, and I popped the book for that below. It's Knitted Friends, but I can't remember who by. It was supposed to be a birthday present, but it was quite late, and I was sewing it up, and he came in and saw it, and he knew straight away that it was Jack, because Jack's very white, and then he's got like a brown bit that leads onto his tail, and Stephen just saw that, and then he grabbed it, and then went into the room and was like, this is stuffed toy, this is Jack. He was like, it was so cute, and it actually looks like Jack. I'm really proud of that. And I used we got him as a puppy, and I used the dog tag from when he was a puppy as his collar. So yeah. I've also made him a knitted heart when we moved to Scotland. It was our first anniversary in Scotland, so it was like, I actually googled like the Scottish flag colour and found the yarn for it. I don't have a picture of that. And then I made him a knitted rose for Valentine's. Lockdown Valentine's? A knitted rose? Oh yeah, this is like, I don't know, it's quite close to my favourite, but it's a different craft, so it can be my favourite from this craft. It's, I don't know if you know Alex Norris and the Oh No comics, but I basically just designed the Oh No. Because how fitting for lockdown. But yeah, that was really fun. And I had some blue fabric, so I didn't have to cross stitch the blue in the back. It looked exactly like it. I'm really proud of that. And that's in a coaster. And sometimes it goes in Stephen's room, and then sometimes I steal it to go into my room. Oh yeah, it's here actually. Oh no. How cool is that? And then I made him a scarf, just because it's winter, and if you can knit and you live with someone, make them a scarf. Simple. And then, lockdown Christmas, we got a smoker, so we do like ribs and stuff through summer. And then at Christmas we decided to do chicken, but not just any chicken. A chicken with beer inside its butt. So you get the beer, you pour half out, and then you keep half in, and then it sounds so gross to describe it. I'm just gonna say a chicken with a beer can in its butt, and you can put two and two together. But it was really, really tasty. So I just made a random. It was actually a present I wrapped up for him, but I just made a random Christmas tree decoration with felt of like a chicken holding a beer, and it really amused him and me. And every year we get it out, it's like, and that you could never find that in a shop either. That's another thing I love about making things for people. Like, they're just so unique and so personalised to that person. And these two things are the most stressful things I've ever made. The first one was a patchwork jeans apron, which I finished in the end after like 6 months, because I was again new to sewing and I didn't realise how thick denim was. So I broke many needles, got raged at the sewing machine many times, and then I finally bought a hem. It's a little plastic thing that lifts the foot up. It basically replicates a higher up foot, so you can still sew a straight line with thicker fabric. So that was really handy. You slot it under the foot and then move your fabric along, and I'll pop a link below for that, because if you're new to sewing, or you're not new to sewing, you don't know about this, I think it's really, really helpful thing to know about. I can't remember the word, but obviously I'll put the link below, and in brackets I'll put something like foot lifter upper. But yeah, the patchwork jeans apron, I really wanted to finish it because I just love the idea of it. It's just all jeans and stuff. The pockets are like farm animals, and it's like all the animals that we've eaten on the barbecue. But yeah, and it had to be long because he's like 6'1" or 2, so it had to be longer than the normal apron as well, which obviously added to the stress. But now we always make sure we use it, like we share it and stuff. but it's just for barbecuing. And lastly, I say lastly, but I really think it's not lastly. I think I made him a lot more things. It's the lamb. I mentioned this in my Vlogmas December. I tried doing an advanced pattern, but couldn't, so just did a simple pattern with the same yarn, and it was so effective and so cute. I just love it. It's really stiff. Because I was wanting to go for like a realistic or like heirloom doll, an heirloom teddy type thing. So it feels really old, even though it's new, which I really wanted to go for. So I downsized needles so it was really stiff, and then I stuffed it a lot so it was really stiff. And yeah, that was exactly what I was going for. So I'm glad I managed to finish it in the end. Because obviously the lockdown Christmas I made every single person a present, and last December I just made that. So I was able to put all my attention to that, which is why I finished it and made it exactly how I wanted to, because I wasn't overwhelmed with other projects. Okay, that's the end of everything I've made, apparently. I don't believe it. I don't believe me. I'll probably publish this video and then like realise all the things I forgot to mention. Oh yeah, my friend Mark made me a penguin with an N on it. That was years ago, like way before I got into knitting, and it's just like a because I love penguins. Oh yep, and see, it's already happening. My sister made me a pom-pom penguin. I love penguins, but I've never made anything penguin for myself, apart from like a knitting needle roll-up case with penguin fabric, but I've never made like a penguin teddy. And I'm like, I keep thinking, why? I do love penguins. Penguins and whales. Whales first, penguins second. I think it honestly depends what mood I'm in. Whales are just so impressive and massive. And like the killer whales, the orca whales, they're like top of the food chain, which is just amazing. Apart from humans, who are top of them, but they're top of the animal food chain. You know the film Blackfish? If you don't, it's really good. You should definitely check it out. It's like a documentary film type thing. But yeah, we went to see that when it first came out, and it was in some tiny little theatre in the middle of nowhere. Well, not in a little village somewhere near Amble. It had the most uncomfy seats, but it was the best way to see that. It was really, really fun. Not fun. It was a nice day with a sad documentary. Okay, I still don't believe that's the end of everything I've made. So yes, going to finish my giant scarf, and my next episode is going to be M, and that's going to be for Make Do Mend. I'm going to talk about the history of the Make Do Mend. I have another historic, like I say, I love history, you know that. I have another historic episode, and that was for International Women's Day, and it was all about knitting spies, so check that out because it was fascinating to research. And then the next is going to be N for Naomi's Needles, where I'm going to talk to you about all the needles I have. So yeah, I can't remember what O is, but you know, you've got 2 episodes to look forward to. So yeah, thank you for watching, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs. I hate doing so. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you've made for people or what you've received, what you're working on, just general knitting talk is nice. If you're new here, please subscribe and click the little bell to get notifications when there's a new video released. It is every Monday at 5 PM, but you know, it's nice to be notified. It's one of the nice notifications of all the notifications in the world. It's a nice one. So you can sit down, get a cup of tea, get your knitting and watch the next episode. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next Monday. Bye.